Hello, BookTube. Welcome back to Poetry Thursday, and I'm going to keep bringing you some Charles Harpur from this insanely big anthology. This is going to be called. This is called Lost in the Bush. It's insanely long, so get ready and rest in peace to my arm that's going to be holding this massive book throughout the next couple of minutes. I know that's not how you say his name. It's got because there's Harper's got an A in it, where this has got a U, so I don't know how to say it. But he's such a lovely poet, and let's see what he has to say. This is Lost in the Bush. Lost in the bush, the night approaching fast, and around Londering a cold breathing blast. Fancy the thing, then mark how settler will there in the pathless forest stand stock still, with keen heed questioning yon particular hill, only to learn from its answer, Ye, I tell thee, stranger, thou hast gone astray. Thus answered, back he turns, intent to find some prospects more familiar to his mind. But vainly, for the farther back he goes, the backward scene itself yet stronger grows, so that he mutters while he scans the ground, by Jove, the very world seemed twisted round, and yon red gleam on the horizon yet, it is where methinks the sun should rise, not set. Then, with a sudden spin, the anxious swain turns just to question yon blunt hill again, which was the first to tell him, for once, his shrewd bush instinct had turned out a dunce. But which is which? A dozen sunlets lie as like as an egg against the twilight sky, and in amongst them, with a blank surprise, his mouth drops open but wide, stares his eyes, then squats on his hams, intent to gain yet clearer views, but clearer views are vain. The pleasant fact abides though every test, and drawing a long breath he mutters, well, I'm blessed. In short, he's lost, and seeing that the night will be a wild one, scratches his head, and as much that member loads with exertions. What far go the road, for shorter cuts so near the day's decline, mongst hills and bushes, dry this head of mine, the dark is settling round as thick as mire, the bush too's roaring like a world on fire. I am not much given to foolish turrets, as far as too knowing to believe in spirits, but such a night in such a cursed place must be put one in a raving case, and somewhere here for certain it is said that there's a black's grave ground over silly head. Besides, Peg may forget to bed the sow, Big Bess that is so near her Peggy now, nor can she by herself with all her care secure the stack from the down Dadagus mare, or pen those rascal calves up from the kine. I must regain the road o'er this sick head of mine. Thus grimly summarizing his distress, on dodged and desperate, he at random presses, Ah, Will, damn fortune owes thee some shrewd spite. The blazing hearth shall know thee not night. In vain thy Peg now watches for her will to heave and sight upon the custard hill, saying the while with the most wifely frown, he's boozing somewhere, and I'll comb him down. And just the vainly dust thou onward ploughed, dismissally cooing against every rod, and wishing, tween whiles thou hasn't where there thee, thy neighbour Wilson just for company. But honest Wilson would himself not doubt, but in rather on such the night than out, though his crony will, and though a drinking bout. Now thickest glooms blank every forest path, and like a large cycloptic eye in wrath, one only the stairs glare really down, as seem up on the rent in heaven's dun cloudy screen, which gasps slow crossing like a dim drawn streak. The owl pours forward his funeral shriek. Sounds of strange waters through the turmoil vast of the wide dark woods dash over in the blast, or the lank dingo's long and weary cry comes wildly wailing from the covert nigh. Rocked high in some old gum, the opossum sways, a nest like lump amid the hanging sprays, or craning on outward through the gusty dark, croons to his mate, there is an iron bark, or the spare curlews that from the points meet in nightly gatherings futureth and fleet, and that half up I can't say that word appear to be now near, now distant, send suddenly upward in a hollow gale, cries dismissal, dear as those of spectres pale, that round the scene of the wholesale murder wail, staringly near the phantom like to see, the sharp-voiced burrowing streams from the tree to tree, or the wild cat with the breath-suppressing rush, whisks imp-like from the goblin-featured bush, or startled kangaroos, dark brooning high, stirring like a troop in a shadowy devil's by. Ah, Will, such an hour may be thy spirit grieve, most woe-begone, most luckless son of Eve. Worn out at last he settles down and sleep. There finds him a coiled beside the bleaching heap of leaves that sprays whose accession fast patter about him, dropping from the blast, well laden with his over-rushing might, wild sway the huge dark trees above the unconscious white. But now, when negress night and her denser shades had wasted drawn from the grey of glades, stung upon the conscious twown scene by the increasing cold, he dreams a dream. A banished man, near polar skies he fares, on all hands menaced by dread herds of bears, enormous fellows, shaggy, ice grim, with hunger all bent on tasting him. Begins the onslaught, horrible his affright, great his despair, yet he maintains the fight. But in the strife an arm is lost, that luckless arm least sheltered from the frost, from whence no doubt the stream suggestion came, from that it worked about him in strange queen-made game. Sweating and wild he wakes, relieved 'tis true, yet in the strait that ferrets him anew. So sitting up, he first his long face drawn, rubs hard, then looks and hails the wished for dawn. Next scans the unknown scene with rueful eyes, and folds his arms and shakes his head and sighs. When hark distinctly, although from far away, he hears some watchdog's thrice repeated bay, starts from his huddle posture at a bound, and brisk pushes from the ground sound, nor long for his search, for now some morning star wheels from the eastern steeps his shining car, in whose so pillared but effectual sheen a rude lodge dim a picture like is seen. There is a clearing from yon hill spreads out, with stumps all dotted yet fenced about. Filter he hastens, is welcomed there, consoled with feed and hospitable care. And when the sun shall crown the wintry day, his hosts can set him on his homeward way. Oh my god, that's it. I didn't realize I just got so invested. But yeah, that's Lost in the Bush. It was very lovely, and we got a couple more poems by Mr. Charles, but we'll see what I pull from him next week. So yeah, thank you so much for watching BookTube, and I will see you next time.